My name is Mason Parker, 34 years old, and I never thought I would become the family villain for protecting my 7-year-old daughter Lily. When my mother Eleanor and sister Rebecca organized a massive family celebration with bouncy castles and pony rides but deliberately excluded my little girl, something inside me snapped. The credit card they used to fund their $28,000 exclusionary extravaganza? It had my name on it too. Sometimes justice comes through unexpected channels. And the consequences were more severe than anyone anticipated. Before I dive into this painful story, let me know where you are watching from in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe to join our community of real talk and life lessons. To understand why my mother and sister's actions cut so deeply, you need to know a bit about the Parker family dynamics. I grew up in Westfield, Connecticut, in what looked like the perfect upper-middle-class home. 4-bedroom colonial house, manicured lawn, 2 luxury cars in the driveway. My father Thomas built a successful investment firm, while my mother Eleanor focused on maintaining our family's social standing in the community. From the outside, we had everything. Inside our home was a different story. Emotional warmth was in short supply, replaced by high expectations and conditional approval. My sister Rebecca, 2 years older than me, quickly learned how to navigate our parents' world. She got straight A's, joined the right clubs, befriended the right people, and never questioned family decisions. I was the opposite. Art, music, and writing called to me from an early age. I spent hours sketching in my room while Rebecca attended cotillion classes and country club events. My father viewed my creative interests as a waste of time, often telling me, "Art is a hobby, not a career, Mason." My mother would sigh dramatically whenever I showed up to dinner with paint on my hands. The real fracture in our family happened when I was 16. My parents' marriage, which had been deteriorating behind closed doors for years, finally collapsed publicly. The divorce was ugly. My father moved out, taking his money and status with him, while my mother was left to rebuild her identity. Rebecca sided firmly with our mother, while I maintained a relationship with both parents, earning my mother's resentment. "Your loyalty should be to the parent who raised you," she would say, ignoring the fact that our housekeeper Maria had done more actual child rearing than either of them. I left for college at 18, pursuing graphic design against my family's wishes. My father threatened to cut off financial support, but eventually compromised when I agreed to minor in business. Those 4 years gave me the distance I needed to start building my own identity away from the suffocating expectations of the Parker name. Then I met Stephanie during my senior year. She worked at the campus coffee shop, putting herself through nursing school. Smart, funny, with a kindness that radiated from within, she was everything my family was not. We fell in love quickly. And for the first time, I understood what unconditional acceptance felt like. When I brought Stephanie home to meet my family during Christmas break, the temperature in the house seemed to drop 10 degrees. My mother barely spoke to her, while Rebecca asked pointed questions about her humble background. Stephanie was the daughter of a mechanic and a kindergarten teacher from Ohio, facts my family treated like character flaws rather than the source of her incredible work ethic and compassion. "She seems nice enough," my mother said afterward. "But really, Mason, you could do so much better. The Williams family has a lovely daughter who just graduated from Vassar." I proposed to Stephanie 6 months later. We married in a small ceremony that my mother and sister attended with frozen smiles and designer outfits that cost more than our entire wedding budget. My father came separately, slipping me a check and some awkward advice before leaving early. Stephanie and I built a good life together. I established myself as a freelance graphic designer, while she worked as an ER nurse. We bought a modest home, adopted a rescue dog named Cooper, and after 3 years of marriage, welcomed our daughter Lily into the world. The moment I held Lily in my arms, I made a silent promise that she would never doubt her worth or feel that she had to earn my love. She would grow up knowing she was enough, exactly as she was. My family kept their distance during those early years, making obligatory appearances at Lily's christening and first birthday. My mother sent expensive gifts that were never quite right, always with gift receipts attached. Rebecca visited occasionally, her comments about our cozy home and Lily's Target brand clothes thinly veiling her judgment. Then, when Lily was 3, our world shattered. Stephanie was driving home from a night shift when a drunk driver ran a red light. She died instantly. In one moment, I became a widower and a single father, trying to explain to my toddler why mommy wasn't coming home. Grief consumed me, but Lily needed stability. I scaled back my work, hired a part-time nanny named Rosa who quickly became family, and focused on creating a secure environment for my daughter. My father helped financially, but kept his emotional distance. My mother and sister made brief appearances at the funeral, awkwardly patting my shoulder before retreating to their comfortable lives. "If you need anything, just call," they said, but when I did call, asking for help with Lily while I attended grief counseling, there was always some reason they couldn't manage it. As the years passed, I rebuilt our life. Lily grew into a creative, compassionate little girl who reminded me so much of Stephanie. She loved animals, art, and making up elaborate stories. She was sensitive and sometimes shy, preferring small groups to large gatherings, but fiercely loyal to her few close friends. When Lily turned 6, I decided it was time to try reconnecting with my family. Despite our complicated history, they were still Lily's only extended family, and I wanted her to have those connections. I reached out to my mother, suggesting monthly family dinners. To my surprise, she agreed. For the past year, we had been attending these stilted gatherings at my mother's house. Rebecca, now married to a corporate lawyer named William with 2 perfectly behaved children, Madison and Connor, would scrutinize Lily's manners and redirect conversations whenever Lily talked about her public school or our middle-class neighborhood. Still, I persisted, hoping that eventually they would see what I saw, a wonderful little girl worthy of their love and acceptance. I was willing to overlook the subtle digs and condescension if it meant Lily could have a relationship with her grandmother and cousins. In retrospect, I should have recognized the signs that they would never truly accept her as part of the family. But hope is a powerful force, especially when it concerns your child's happiness. The first hint of the cousin carnival came through an Instagram post. Rebecca shared a photo of custom-designed invitations with carousel horses and colorful balloons with the caption, "Planning the biggest family celebration ever! Cousin Carnival coming soon! #extended family fun #Parker traditions." I thought nothing of it initially. The Parkers had never been big on family traditions during my childhood, but people change. Maybe this was Rebecca's way of creating something special for the next generation. A week later, Lily came home from school excited. "Dad, Madison told her friend on the bus that she's having a carnival party with ponies. Do you think we're invited?" My heart sank. Madison was in the same grade as Lily but attended the private academy across town. They occasionally saw each other at the bus stop. The fact that Lily had heard about the party from eavesdropping rather than a direct invitation wasn't a good sign. "I'm not sure, sweetie. Maybe the invitations haven't gone out yet. Let's wait and see." That evening, I checked Rebecca's social media again and found more posts about the upcoming event. A vendor was tagged showing delivery of 3 bouncy castles. Another post mentioned a guest list of 101 people, including all the Parker children and cousins. There was a photo of pony ride arrangements being finalized. 2 days later, Madison and Connor's grandmother, my mother, posted photos of personalized gift bags being assembled with each child's name beautifully calligraphed on custom tags. I zoomed in on the image, scanning for Lily's name among them. It wasn't there. I waited another week. Invitations had clearly gone out, as various family members were posting about their excitement for the event. Lily kept asking if we had received ours yet. The mail brought nothing. Finally, I called my mother directly. "Hello, Mason. She answered with her usual formal tone. Hi, Mom. I'm calling about this cousin carnival I keep seeing posts about. Lily's really excited about the possibility of ponies. A long pause followed. Oh, well. I suppose Rebecca should have spoken to you directly about this. It's primarily for the children who are, well, more integrated into the family traditions. My grip tightened on the phone. What exactly does that mean? Lily is your granddaughter. Of course she is, technically. But you have to understand, Mason, she wouldn't really fit in with the other children. They all attend the same schools, share the same activities. Lily is different. It would be uncomfortable for everyone. The casualness with which she excluded my daughter left me speechless for a moment. So you're explicitly not inviting my 7-year-old daughter to a family event where every other child in the extended family is welcome? Please don't be dramatic, Mason. It's Rebecca's event anyway. I'm just helping with arrangements. After hanging up, I received a text from Rebecca. Mom told me you called. Look. The cousin carnival is for children who are part of our regular social circle. Lily wouldn't enjoy it anyway since she doesn't know our traditions or the other children well. Maybe next time if you make more effort to integrate her properly into the family. Integrate her properly. As if my daughter was defective in some way. I was seething but determined not to show it to Lily. That evening as I tucked her into bed, she asked again about the carnival. Did our invitation come today, Dad? I stroked her hair. So much like Stephanie's. Actually, sweetheart, I found out it's not really our kind of party. It's going to be very loud and formal and not much fun. But I was thinking, how about you and I have our own special day that same Saturday? We could go to Adventure World, just the two of us. Her face lit up at the mention of the amusement park I normally deemed too expensive. Really? With the water slides and everything? Everything. I promised. It'll be way better than some silly carnival. After she fell asleep, I sat in the kitchen with a glass of whiskey, scrolling through more family posts about the upcoming extravaganza. A comment from my cousin Jennifer caught my attention. Eleanor, the event planning company just called me to confirm my kids' attendance. The budget for this is incredible. Something clicked in my mind. I knew my sister couldn't afford a $28,000 party on her husband's salary alone, not with their lavish lifestyle and private school tuitions. There was only one explanation: my father was funding it. I called him the next morning. Dad, are you paying for Rebecca's cousin carnival? He sounded confused. What? No. I haven't given her anything for a party. I didn't even know about it until Mother mentioned it yesterday. So who's covering the costs? It's got to be nearly $30,000 from what I'm seeing. Perhaps they're using the family card, he said offhandedly. The family card. My stomach dropped. He meant the credit card account he had established years ago, on which both my parents were primary cardholders, and Rebecca and I were authorized users. It had been created to cover family emergencies and shared expenses. I rarely used it, preferring to pay my own way, but my name was still attached to the account. That evening, I did some digging. Using the online account access, I reviewed recent charges. There they were: Enchanted Events Planning, $17,000. Premium Pony Experiences, $4,000. Custom Celebrations Catering, $7,000. Plus dozens of smaller charges for decorations, gift bags, and rentals. $28,436 in total. All in the past 3 weeks. All charged to a card that legally had my name on it, for an event specifically excluding my child. As I stared at the screen, another charge appeared in real time. Custom Carousel Photography, $2,000. Then my phone buzzed with a new Instagram notification. Rebecca had posted a photo of all the cousins' gift bags lined up. In the comments, someone asked about Lily. Rebecca's response made my blood run cold. Lily has some behavioral issues that make large gatherings difficult. We thought it best not to overwhelm her. Behavioral issues? My daughter, who was praised by teachers for her gentle nature and consideration for others? Who had never had a single discipline problem at school? I kept scrolling and found a conversation between my mother and a distant aunt. No, Lily won't be joining us. Between her public school environment and Mason's unconventional parenting since Stephanie passed, she simply hasn't developed the social graces the other children have. The final straw came when I discovered they had deliberately scheduled the party for a Saturday when they believed I would be at a design conference in Boston. A detail I had mentioned at our last family dinner. They had planned not only to exclude Lily but to hide it from me. In that moment, something hardened inside me. They had gone beyond mere snobbery to deliberate cruelty toward an innocent child, my child, while using financial resources that could potentially impact me. I had tried for years to build bridges for Lily's sake, overlooking their elitism and condescension. But this calculated exclusion, while spending money on a card bearing my name, crossed a line I couldn't ignore. I closed the laptop and made my decision. I wouldn't confront them directly. Wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing my anger or Lily's hurt. But I would ensure there were consequences. The next morning, I watched Lily get ready for school, carefully selecting her favorite blue dress and asking me to braid her hair, like Mommy used to. Every innocent action twisted the knife deeper. This beautiful child, deemed not good enough by her own grandmother and aunt. Dad, can I bring cupcakes for Madison's birthday next week? I made her a card too, Lily asked, holding up a handmade card covered in glitter and carefully drawn flowers. That's very thoughtful of you, I said, swallowing the lump in my throat. Madison's actual birthday celebration would be the cousin carnival, a fact Lily didn't know. After dropping her at school, I called my best friend Derek. They did what? He exploded after I explained the situation. That's beyond messed up, Mason. You need to confront them, tell them exactly what kind of elitist garbage they're pulling. And what would that accomplish? They'd deny it, make excuses, or worse, say something hurtful directly to Lily. They clearly don't see anything wrong with their behavior. So you're just going to let them get away with it? Spend 30 grand on a party explicitly excluding your kid while using a card with your name on it? That's when the idea fully crystallized. No, I'm not letting them get away with it. But I'm going to handle it differently. That evening after Lily went to bed, I researched credit card fraud reporting. As an authorized user on the account, I had never approved these specific charges, nor had I been consulted about this event. Technically, these could be considered fraudulent charges from my perspective. I paced my living room for hours, weighing the consequences. This would cause a family explosion. Relationships might be permanently damaged. But hadn't they already damaged the relationship by treating Lily as less than worthy? I recalled my own childhood. The subtle and not so subtle ways I had been made to feel inadequate for being different from the Parker mold. I had promised myself Lily would never experience that pain, yet here it was, being deliberately inflicted by the people who should love her most. The next day, my cousin Jennifer called. We had always been closer than most in the family. Having bonded over being the family, disappointments, Jennifer for choosing teaching over law, me for pursuing art. Mason, I need to tell you something uncomfortable, she began. Rebecca has been telling everyone that Lily has serious behavioral problems, and that's why she's not invited to the carnival. She told Aunt Margaret that Lily threw a tantrum at your mother's house and broke an antique vase. That never happened, I said, stunned by the blatant lie. I know. I've met Lily. She's the sweetest kid ever. But Rebecca is spinning this narrative that you're struggling as a single dad and Lily is acting out because of it. She's making it sound like excluding her is actually doing you both a favor. My hands shook with rage as Jennifer continued detailing the rumors my sister had been spreading throughout the family. Not only were they excluding Lily, but they were assassinating her character to justify it. That night, I checked social media one last time before making my final decision. A cousin had posted pictures of the carnival invitations being mailed. In the background of one photo, barely visible but unmistakable once I zoomed in, was an envelope with "Not for Lily" written in the corner in my mother's handwriting. They had actually taken the time to specifically mark an envelope to ensure my daughter would be excluded. In that moment, all hesitation vanished. This wasn't just snobbery or thoughtlessness. It was deliberate cruelty toward a child who had already lost her mother, whose only crime was being born to parents who didn't fit the Parker mold. I made my decision. I would not confront them directly. I would not give them the opportunity to justify their actions or twist the narrative further. Instead, I would let the system deliver consequences they couldn't ignore or explain away. The night before the cousin carnival, I finalized my plans for Lily's special day and prepared myself for what would come next. Saturday morning arrived bright and clear. Perfect weather for both the carnival and our alternative adventure. Lily bounced out of bed at 6:30, already chattering about the water slides at Adventure World. "Can we go on the tornado tube?" "Please, Dad? I'm tall enough now." "Absolutely," I promised, helping her pack her swim bag. "Today is going to be all about fun, just you and me." As we ate breakfast, Lily suddenly asked, "Is Madison doing something fun today too?" My heart constricted. "I think her family had some event planned," I said carefully. "Maybe we could have a playdate with her and Connor next weekend?" I could show them my new art set. The innocence of her request, the complete lack of awareness that these same cousins would be riding ponies and playing in bouncy castles in just a few hours without her, strengthened my resolve. "That's a great idea. We'll definitely set something up soon." I checked my phone as we drove to Adventure World. Rebecca had already started posting, setting up for the most magical day. #CousinCarnival #FamilyTraditions. With photos of the elaborate decorations and 3 bounce houses being inflated on our mother's expansive lawn. The Adventure World parking lot was already filling when we arrived. I splurged on the Fast Pass wristbands, determined to make this day as special as possible for Lily. "Wow, Dad! We never get the special bands," Lily exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "Today is an extra special day," I told her, squeezing her hand. For the next several hours, I focused entirely on Lily, riding roller coasters, splashing in the water park, and eating overpriced amusement park food. Her joy was infectious, her laughter a balm to my wounded heart. This was what mattered, not some exclusive family event we weren't welcome at. Around 2 in the afternoon, while Lily was safely belted into the tilt-a-whirl, I made the call I had been planning for days. Stepping away to a quiet corner, I dialed the customer service number on the back of my credit card. "Hello, this is Mason Parker. I need to report several fraudulent charges on my account." The representative was professional and thorough. "Can you identify which charges you believe are unauthorized, Mr. Parker?" I listed them one by one, each party-related expense. "And you did not authorize these purchases, sir?" "No, I did not. I'm an authorized user on this account. But I never approved these specific charges, nor was I consulted about them." "I understand, Mr. Parker. Given the substantial amounts involved, we'll need to freeze the account immediately while we investigate. This means no further charges will be processed until this matter is resolved. We'll be sending documentation for you to formally dispute these charges." "I understand. Thank you." As I hung up, I felt a curious mixture of guilt and vindication. The wheels were now in motion. I checked social media once more before putting my phone away for the rest of our day. Rebecca had posted a video of children climbing into a bouncy castle with the caption, "The Cousin Carnival is officially underway. So blessed to have all our family children together for this special day." All except one. Lily and I continued our day of adventure, riding every ride she was tall enough for, playing carnival games where I deliberately lost so she could win stuffed animals, and eating cotton candy until our tongues turned blue. By the time we headed home, the sun was setting and Lily was happily exhausted, clutching a giant stuffed dolphin she'd named Splash. "Best day ever, Dad," she murmured, half asleep in the back seat. "For me too, sweetheart." When we arrived home, I carried her to bed, not even bothering to change her out of her slightly damp swimsuit. As I tucked her in, surrounded by her new stuffed animal collection, I kissed her forehead and whispered, "You are perfect exactly as you are, Lily Parker. Never forget that." Then I checked my phone. 7 missed calls from Rebecca. 5 from my mother. Dozens of text messages growing increasingly frantic. The most recent from Rebecca. "What the hell did you do?" The card was declined for the photographer's final payment, and they're threatening to delete all the photos. "Call me immediately." It had begun. I didn't return any calls that night, choosing instead to sit on my back porch with a glass of bourbon, preparing myself for the storm. It hit full force Sunday morning at 7:15 when my doorbell rang repeatedly, followed by aggressive knocking. I opened the door to find Rebecca, still wearing yesterday's makeup, her hair disheveled in a way I'd never seen before. "What the actual hell, Mason?" she hissed, pushing past me into the house. "The credit card company froze the account. They're saying the charges were reported as fraud." I closed the door calmly. "Keep your voice down. Lily is still sleeping." "I don't care if your precious Lily is sleeping. Do you have any idea what you've done? The caterers are threatening legal action. The pony people are demanding their final payment. Mother is beside herself." I maintained a steady tone. "You charged $28,000 for an event that explicitly excluded my daughter, using a card that has my name on it. What did you expect?" Her face contorted with rage. "This is exactly why we didn't invite Lily. This irrational, vindictive behavior. You've always been jealous of me, and now you're using your daughter as an excuse to sabotage a beautiful family event. A beautiful family event that deliberately excluded part of the family," I corrected, "and used financial resources connected to me without my consent. It's a family card. We use it for family expenses. And Lily isn't family? Because that's certainly the message you and Mom sent loud and clear." Rebecca's phone rang. She answered it, turning away from me. "Yes, Mother, I'm with him now." "No. He's being completely unreasonable." "I know." "Yes, I'll try." She ended the call and faced me again. "Mother wants to speak with you. She's willing to overlook this little stunt if you call the credit card company right now and tell them it was a mistake." "It wasn't a mistake. Mason, this isn't funny. William and I put some of these charges on our personal cards expecting to be reimbursed from the family account. We're talking thousands of dollars. You should have thought about that before writing 'not for Lily' on an envelope and telling the entire family my daughter has behavioral problems she doesn't have." Rebecca's face paled. "How did you? Social media makes it easy to slip up, doesn't it? Just like it made it easy for me to see every detail of the elaborate event planned specifically to exclude my child while using financial resources connected to me." My sister's voice took on a pleading tone I'd never heard before. "Mason, please. We can work this out. Maybe we made a mistake with Lily, but this response is completely disproportionate." "Is it? You were willing to spend $28,000 to make a 7-year-old feel unwelcome in her own family. How much do you think that's going to cost her in therapy bills someday?" Rebecca's phone pinged with texts. She glanced down and her expression grew more desperate. "The venue is demanding payment for damage to their equipment." One of the children spilled punch on their speaker system. "Mason, please. This is getting serious. It was already serious when you decided my daughter wasn't good enough to be included." Rebecca left in tears, threatening legal action, family excommunication, and various other consequences. 20 minutes later, my mother called. "Mason Alexander Parker. I have never been so disappointed in my life. Your behavior is completely unacceptable." "Interesting. That's exactly how I felt when I discovered my daughter was the only child in the entire extended family not invited to your event. That was Rebecca's decision, not mine. The not for Lily envelope had your handwriting, Mother. And you told Aunt Catherine that Lily hasn't developed the social graces the other children have. Don't lie to me. A long pause followed. Perhaps we could have handled it better. She finally conceded. But your response is completely unreasonable. The credit card company is investigating all the charges as potential fraud. Do you have any idea how embarrassing this is? About as embarrassing as having to explain to your daughter why her cousins are all at a party she wasn't invited to. Mason, you need to fix this immediately. Your father is furious. Dad already told me he wasn't involved in funding this party. He had no idea you were using the family card for it. Another long pause. We'll discuss your father's involvement separately. Right now, you need to call the credit card company and tell them this was all a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. You used a card with my name on it to fund an event that deliberately excluded and humiliated my child. I never authorized those charges. This will destroy your relationship with the entire family. Is that what you want? I laughed bitterly. What relationship? The one where my daughter is considered defective because she attends public school? Where my sister spreads lies about her behavior to justify excluding her? Where my own mother can't see past her elitism to love her granddaughter? That relationship? The calls and texts continued throughout the day. Cousins I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly had opinions about my vindictive behavior. Aunts and uncles weighed in on how I was tearing the family apart. Only Jennifer and 2 other cousins sent messages of support, acknowledging that the exclusion of Lily had been cruel and unnecessary. By Monday morning, the situation had escalated. The credit card company had contacted all the vendors involved, informing them that the charges were under investigation for potential fraud. This triggered a cascade of collection notices to Rebecca and my mother, as they had been the ones to make the actual purchases. Rebecca called again, this time in tears. The credit card company needs documentation that I was authorized to make these purchases on your behalf. They're saying without it, I could be investigated for credit card fraud. This could affect William's law practice. You weren't authorized, I replied simply. Not for an event excluding my daughter while using my financial association. It was just a children's party. Mason, why are you making this into such a huge deal? It stopped being just a children's party when you decided my daughter wasn't good enough to attend, then lied about her to justify it. By Wednesday, the first formal collection notice had been delivered to Rebecca's house. The credit card company had completed their preliminary investigation and determined that as an authorized user who had not approved the specific charges, I had legitimate grounds for disputing them. The entire $28,000 was now the responsibility of the primary cardholders and the individual who had made the purchases, my mother and sister. Lily, meanwhile, remained blissfully unaware of the family drama. She chatted about her amazing day at Adventure World, proudly displayed her stuffed animal collection, and asked occasionally when we might see her cousins again. Each innocent question strengthened my resolve. Dad, how come we don't go to Grandma's house anymore? She asked one evening at dinner. I chose my words carefully. Sometimes grown-ups need to take breaks from each other to figure things out. But it doesn't change how much I love you. Does Grandma need a break from me too? The question broke my heart. Grandma has some growing up to do, believe it or not. It's not about you, sweetie. It's never been about you. By the end of the second week, the family had divided into clear factions. Most sided with my mother and sister, viewing me as the villain who had overreacted to a simple party invitation oversight. A smaller group, primarily the family members who had always been considered less than, by my mother's standards, quietly supported my stance. My father called, surprisingly taking my side. I reviewed the account activity. They had no business spending that kind of money without consulting all users on the account, including you. And excluding Lily was inexcusable. Your mother and I have had words about it. The final blow came when the credit card company made their final determination. The charges were indeed unauthorized from my perspective, and my mother and sister were fully responsible for the debt. Additionally, the account would be permanently closed due to the dispute. That's when the real panic set in for Rebecca. By the beginning of the third week, Rebecca's carefully constructed social image began unraveling. The boutique event planning company, frustrated by the bounce payment, posted a vague but identifiable complaint on their business page about clients who make elaborate requests then refuse to pay. Several local vendors who had provided services for the cousin carnival shared the post, adding their own comments. In our small, affluent community where reputation was currency, this was devastating. Rebecca's social circle quickly became aware that something was amiss with the lavish party they'd seen splashed across Instagram. My phone rang at 11 p.m. that Tuesday. It was Rebecca, sobbing. The debt collection agency showed up at our house today. Our neighbors saw. Do you have any idea what this is doing to us? I remained calm. I imagine it's uncomfortable. Uncomfortable? William is furious. His law partners are asking questions. The private school mothers are whispering. All because you couldn't handle Lily being excluded from one event. One event where you spent $28,000 on a card with my name on it, then lied about my daughter to justify excluding her. Actions have consequences, Rebecca. The credit card company is demanding payment in full. We don't have that kind of money just sitting around. This surprised me. You and William live in a $2 million house and take luxury vacations twice a year. That's different. That's budgeted. This is $28,000 due immediately. Mother can't help because she's on a fixed income since the divorce. I almost laughed at the description of my mother's six-figure fixed income from her divorce settlement. Sounds like you have some financial decisions to make. Rebecca's voice turned venomous. You've always been jealous of me. Always. Just because Mother and I understand social obligations and family position, while you decided to play the bohemian artist with your nurse wife from nowhere. The mention of Stephanie ignited my anger. Don't you dare bring my wife into this. Stephanie had more class and compassion in her little finger than you have in your entire body. She would never have excluded a child from a family event, and she certainly wouldn't have lied to justify it afterward. We didn't want Lily there because she doesn't fit in. Is that what you want to hear? She's awkward and unsophisticated because you've raised her without any sense of our family's position. The other children attend cotillion and take etiquette classes while she's finger painting at public school. Finally, the truth. I kept my voice steady. Thank you for your honesty, Rebecca. Now I know exactly where we stand. Goodbye. The following days brought more frantic messages from both Rebecca and my mother. The debt collectors were persistent. The credit card company had reported the unpaid debt, affecting both their credit scores. My mother's country club friends were beginning to ask questions about the financial trouble. Sensing weakness in the carefully cultivated Parker family image. 1 week later, Jennifer called me. You won't believe what's happening, she said. Rebecca is selling her designer bags and jewelry online. William's BMW disappeared from their driveway. There's a rumor they've taken out a second mortgage. I felt a twinge of guilt that quickly dissolved when Jennifer continued. Also, I thought you should know what Rebecca said at the garden club meeting yesterday. She told everyone Lily has serious developmental issues and that's why she wasn't at the carnival. Said you're in denial about it, and lashed out at the family for trying to help. The lies continued. Even now. Thanks for letting me know, Jennifer. 3 weeks after the cousin carnival, the situation reached its climax. A moving truck appeared in front of Rebecca and William's house. 2 days later, Jennifer called again. They've put the house on the market as a pocket listing and moved to Bedford. William's taken a position at a smaller firm there. Rebecca told Mother it's your fault they had to leave their whole lives behind. I felt surprisingly calm. And what does Mother say? She's telling everyone you've had a mental breakdown since Stephanie died and the family has been covering for you for years. Says this credit card situation is just another example of your instability. More lies, more character assassination. But it no longer had the power to hurt me. That evening, as Lily and I worked on an art project together at the kitchen table, she looked up with those earnest eyes so like her mother's. Dad, are we going to see Grandma and Aunt Rebecca soon? It's been a really long time. I put down my paintbrush. Sweetie, we need to have a talk about family. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love us don't know how to do it right. And when that happens, it's okay to take a step back from them. Like a timeout? I smiled at her simple but accurate assessment. Exactly like a timeout. Grandma and Aunt Rebecca need a very long time out to think about how to be kinder. Are they mean? I chose my words carefully. They have a very specific idea of how people should be. And when someone is different, they don't always know how to accept that. But that's their problem, not yours. You are perfect exactly as you are. She nodded, processing this in her 7-year-old way. If they learn to be nicer, can we see them again? If they learn to be nicer and apologize for not being nice before, then yes, maybe we can. She seemed satisfied with this answer and returned to her painting. I marveled at her capacity for forgiveness, a quality I was still working to develop. The next day, a formal letter arrived from the credit card company. The account was permanently closed. The debt had been assigned to a collection agency. My name had been removed from any financial responsibility. It was over. Except it wasn't, not really. The family fracture had deepened into a chasm that might never be bridged. My mother and sister had lost more than money. They'd lost the carefully constructed social facade they'd spent decades building. And I had lost the hope, however faint, that my daughter might someday have a loving relationship with her extended family. But watching Lily flourish in the weeks that followed, free from the subtle undermining and judgment that had always accompanied our family visits, I knew I had made the right choice. Some prices are worth paying for your child's dignity and self-worth. 6 months after the cousin carnival incident, Lily and I established new traditions of our own. Sunday brunches with Jennifer and her children. Monthly game nights with my friends from art school and their families. A chosen family that embraced Lily for exactly who she was. We moved to a slightly larger house in a neighborhood with better schools, using some of the money my father had set aside for Lily's education. He had distanced himself from my mother's narrative about me, instead establishing his own relationship with Lily through regular video calls and occasional visits. Your mother means well in her way, he told me during one visit. But she's never been able to see past appearances. It was the same with you. She couldn't understand why you didn't fit the mold she had created. I should have protected you from that more when you were young. It was the closest thing to an apology I'd ever received from him, and I accepted it as the olive branch it was intended to be. Therapy helped me work through the complex emotions the incident had triggered. The guilt over causing financial hardship to my family. The lingering pain of never being accepted for who I was. The fear that I had permanently damaged Lily's chance at having an extended family. You didn't create this situation, my therapist reminded me. You simply refused to participate in the fiction that excluding your child was acceptable. The consequences were the result of their actions, not yours. Gradually, I came to believe this. I also came to understand that protecting Lily from the subtle cruelty and judgment I had experienced growing up was worth whatever family ties had been severed. Lily herself seemed to thrive without the undercurrent of criticism that had always accompanied our family gatherings. Her art teacher recommended her for a gifted program. She made new friends who shared her interests. She spoke about her mother more freely, asking questions and keeping Stephanie's memory alive in ways that would have been discouraged by my mother and sister. Dad, do you think Mom would like my painting? She would ask. holding up her latest creation. "She would love it, sweetheart. She was so creative, just like you." 3 months after we moved, a letter arrived from my mother. No apology, but a carefully worded invitation to bring Lily for a visit. "When you feel ready?" I set it aside, not yet ready to open that door again without clear boundaries and acknowledgement of the harm done. Rebecca's situation had stabilized somewhat. According to Jennifer, they had downsized significantly, selling luxury items and adjusting to a more modest lifestyle in their new town. The debt had eventually been settled, though the financial impact would linger for years. 5 months after the incident, Rebecca requested a meeting at a coffee shop halfway between our homes. I agreed, curious about what she wanted to say. She looked different than I remembered. The designer clothes and perfect makeup had been replaced by a simpler style. The hardness around her eyes had softened somewhat. "Thank you for meeting me," she began awkwardly. I nodded but said nothing. "I wanted to tell you that I've been doing some thinking about what happened. About Lily." I waited, giving her space to continue. "I was wrong to exclude her from the party. And I was wrong to say those things about her. She's a good kid, and she didn't deserve that." It wasn't a full apology, but it was more self-awareness than I'd ever heard from my sister. "What brought on this realization?" I asked. She looked down at her coffee. "When everything fell apart financially, I discovered who my real friends were. Most of the women I thought were my friends disappeared when we had to move and downsize. They treated me the way..." Her voice trailed off. "The way you treated Lily. I finished for her." She nodded, tears forming. "I never saw it that way until I experienced it myself. Being judged for circumstances beyond my control. Being excluded because I no longer fit a certain image. I felt a complex mixture of vindication and sadness. It's not a good feeling, is it?" "No, it's not." She wiped a tear. "I don't expect you to forgive me right away. But I wanted you to know that I understand better now. And I miss Lily. I miss you." I didn't make any promises that day, but I left the door open for possible reconciliation in the future, with clear conditions about how Lily would be treated. As for my mother, her journey toward understanding was slower. The social embarrassment of financial difficulties had been a significant blow to her carefully constructed image. But according to my father, she had begun asking questions about Lily, showing interest in her life in a way she never had before. A year after the cousin carnival incident, we held our first family choice day, on what would have been Stephanie's birthday. Lily invited everyone she considered family, whether related by blood or not. Jennifer and her children came. My father attended. Several of my closest friends and their families joined us. Even Rebecca came, bringing a thoughtfully chosen art set for Lily. My mother sent her regrets along with a gift, not yet ready to participate in a gathering where she wouldn't be at the center. But the gift, a set of high-quality watercolors with a note recognizing Lily's artistic talent, suggested a small step in the right direction. As I watched Lily that day, surrounded by people who genuinely celebrated her for exactly who she was, I knew that the painful lessons of the past year had led us to something better. We had discovered that family isn't always defined by blood, that sometimes you have to break unhealthy patterns to create healthier ones, and that standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult, is always worth it in the end. The $28,000 party had cost much more than money. It had cost relationships, reputations, and comfortable illusions about family loyalty. But it had also given us something priceless: the freedom to create authentic connections based on love and acceptance rather than obligation and appearance. That evening, after everyone had gone home and Lily was getting ready for bed, she asked me a question I hadn't expected. "Dad, are you sad about what happened with Grandma and Aunt Rebecca?" I sat on the edge of her bed, considering how to answer honestly without burdening her. "I'm sad about some things, yes. I'm sad they couldn't see how wonderful you are exactly as you are. I'm sad they made choices that hurt our family. But I'm not sad about standing up for what's right, and I'm not sad about the life we've built without their approval." She nodded solemnly. "Rosa at school didn't invite me to her birthday, and it made me sad. But then Mia and Zoe invited me to their special playdate instead, and it was way more fun because they actually liked me for me." Out of the mouths of babes. "That's exactly right, sweetheart. Sometimes the people who can't appreciate how amazing you are make space for the people who can." She snuggled under her covers, surrounded by the stuffed animals from Adventure World. "I like our family the way it is now." "Me too, Lily." "Me too." As I reflect on our journey, I realize that true family extends beyond blood relations to encompass those who love us authentically and value us for who we truly are. Have you ever had to stand up for yourself or someone you love against family expectations? What lessons did you learn from that experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more real conversations about family dynamics and personal growth. Thank you for being part of our supportive community, and remember, sometimes the most difficult decisions lead to the most beautiful new beginnings.